Welcome to TFG Fishing, and I'm Troy Gaither. I will be putting a series of videos showing you how I pre-fish for tournaments. I will be using maps, my electronics, and Google Earth to locate places based on seasonal patterns. On the 3 days that I will be showing you in this video, you will be seeing me going to those spots that have been located on the map and show you the progression throughout the day of how I adjust. It will be a 3-day adventure, and if you like the video, please subscribe below.
In this segment, we will be going through 2 apps that I use to help me locate spots to check during my pre-fish on tournaments. I do this prior to going to the lake. If I have a tournament that's coming up, I will pull up that lake and do some map study, which I call, and we will be using the Google Earth Pro and also the Humminbird Fish Smart app, since I use Humminbird units in my boat. So when you load up the Google Earth Pro, this is the screen that you will see. And to search any lake or river throughout the country, go up to the search bar here. And like I said, we will be using Lake Hartwell as an example. So we type in Lake Hartwell, and that's in Georgia. And then we come over here to the search. And as you see, Google Earth will zoom into Lake Hartwell. Prior to this, for the time essence of it, I have gone over and picked up some spots that I wanted to show you how Google Earth can help you locate spots that you would normally see or know that they were there, unless you were actually fishing on Lake Hartwell and you ran over these areas with your depth finder to locate them. But this can eliminate a lot of time prior to getting to the lake or river, so that you know certain spots you want to check for your pre-fish. So here we are, Lake Hartwell. Down here in the app here, it's my places. If you right click on that, and you can create a folder, it'll say add folder, and I created a Lake Hartwell folder here, and I also indicated some spots within here that I like to go through and show you how I go about finding places so that I can go check out those locations where I pre-fish based on seasonal pattern. Alright, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to pick one of these over here. I'm going to go to this ledge here and double click it, and it will zoom in. I created these pins here. It says, the green pin says ledge. Up at the top here in the icon bar at the top, it says add place marks. That's what I did. So when I clicked on that and added the place mark, it will show up. You can move it around to position in any location of anything that you see. This ledge pin that I put in shows a rock or a real steep ledge here along this point here. And I can zoom out, and you can see the ledges, the lines of the ledge continue around inside of this creek channel. The picture that we have here is one that I selected when the lake level was drawn down in order for me to see out away from the bank, to see some of these irregular features that I would like to go check out. Up here in this icon is the historical images, and this is one of the historical images that I pulled up. It is of March 2017, and this is a very detailed drawdown picture from Google Earth. I'm going to, when you click on it, you'll get this slide bar down here is basically the images that they have taken on Lake Hardwell over the years. But let me zoom in here and you can see this ledge here that I have chosen with the pen. And let me go back to the most recent picture that Google has taken, and it is at Lake Hartwell at full pool. And as you can see that ledge pin is a good ways off of the bank, and like I said, unless you went over it with your electronics and really uh, you know or able to depict this ledge or whatever, this process here will show you things that you don't have to necessarily run over them with your electronics and see them on there. You can do a lot of this homework sitting on your couch. So as you can see, this ledge pin is, in fairly deep water, or basically away from the bank. And this picture was taken on April 2018. And, that's the most recent photo that Google Earth has taken of Lake Hartwell, or at least that they have posted. Over here, I've located quite a few other pins throughout the lake, and I wanted to, I did this so that it would eliminate a lot of time and having to create all these pins and go searching for areas. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of the pins that I've located here, and we can go through the map here since I've selected those. I've chosen this creek channel here, and I have these pin placements in here, and I wanted to show you guys how powerful the Google Earth is in helping you locate areas that would draw fish to. And I'm going to go back on the slide bar up here and go back to when the lake was drawn down so that you can see where these pins are located and what is under the water that you wouldn't normally see unless you go over it with your electronics, and you may miss a few, but this gives you an opportunity to really pick up all the areas within this creek here. So let me click back, and there it is where all of the water has been drawn down based on March 2017. So that's fairly recent. Let me zoom in to the back of the creeks that show you a few things here. What this is showing you is this is the creek channel that comes into this creek here, and I'm sure to create this we have an influx of water coming from another source during a heavy rain or spring, or another creek draining into Lake Hartwell. And this pin here I've located as the creek channel. Another key thing here to look at is you can see there's a secondary creek channel that runs up there that you wouldn't have known unless you were to get in here and really do some surveillance of this area. But I'm trying to set myself up to pre-fish and look for specific spots as I do my mapping prior to getting to the lake. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of big rocks here and here that I've located there. Also, when you select this pin, when you have these pins down here, down at the bottom, if you were to highlight it, down here it gives you the latitude and longitudes, and you would be able to put those in your electronics if you know how to do that. So that this will give you the latitude and longitudes and make things a little easier, so you can put a waypoint inside your unit if you have time. If not, you can indicate them here with the pins, and you can go check those locations out. Then also further, going out further into the little deeper water here, you can see that there's some additional rocks here, fairly good sized ones there in the water that would tend to hold fish, hold bass. So you can check these two areas out, and then also along this bank here we have some other rocks as well, and the dark spot of it is of course the shadow that rock is creating. So you can see it's a fairly good sized shadow, so typically that would equate to a decent size rock in the water. As we move out of this creek, and of course we had the ledges that I showed earlier on that one pin up here, whether it's a rock or a real steep ledge, you can see the shadow mark on that, and you can see this erosion that has taken place over the years that has created hiding spots for bass. While we're in this drawdown mode on the slide bar, what I would typically do and how I locate these spots is I would go into Google Earth on your lake or river that you choose to fish and select the historical images up here and click down to see if you get a decent clear picture such as this one that I have. Many of them in the Google Earth app. Pictures are really high definition, such as this, that you were able to see in good detail. But I'm gonna zoom out in some of these other pins that I have located, here, so I can take you to those spots. And basically, what I do is just, zoom in on the bank here while I'm sitting on my couch and just, go around the bank and see things. And, this looks like a brush pile. You can put a pin there. But I've located some others. But you can just go around the bank. Looks like out here as well. Here. There's quite a bit. There could be a brush pile, could be a rock pile, could be, an old stump. But let me zoom out and go to some of these other spots so we're not going all the way around the bank showing you all of these. But these are like key spots that I look for. And you see the brush pile, and also when you put a pin in there, you are able to name it, so that if you were to print this out and take it with you, or if you download the Google Earth Pro app in your cell phone, you can have that while you're out on the water and take a look at it. And like I said before, highlight that pin, and down here in this menu down here, not menu, but indicator down here shows you the latitude and longitudes of that particular pin. So this is something anybody can do prior to going to the lake. We got some rock here close to the shoreline, good bit of it. Here I tend to choose rock piles that are in a little deeper water, but we got quite a bit going on here in between these two boat docks, as you can see, and I called it rock pile. Just as we're going through this, let me show you the image when it's the normal lake level or full pool. Go back to the most recent photo, and as you can see, some of the rocks in here you'll be able to see, but those bigger rocks out there on that ledge in between these two boat docks, is in some deep water there that unless you went over it with your electronics, you would pick it up. But let's go click back to the drawdown map here, and I picked out some, and I just go around the bank, and then I'll switch between the water level and everything as I go around the bank. I picked up a few other spots that I wanted to share with you that you could look at. Look at it, this is another rock ledge. I labeled it as rock ledge, and as you can see, these bands here for erosion as it goes up, and it's eroding and creating ledges along the bank. But then again, we can switch back to the lake level and show you, this spot underwater, which you would not be able to see. Here we go there. So, it's out there pretty, good ways from the bank, and it's something that you can go check out and see if it's holding fish based on seasonal patterns. So, that's just really what I do to help me eliminate so much of the water to pre-fish, because Lake Hartwell impoundment is 60,000 acres, and typically in the time frame that we have, to pre-fish or allowed to pre-fish before cutoff uh, time, you know, you need to maximize, your time, efficiently. So when you get out on a body of water, you can check all of these spots. And here's another underwater. Let me zoom in here. This was really something nice that you wouldn't see. This is a rock pile out here on this hump here. But then, when we go up here and click, and you can see the water at full pool, you wouldn't know it was there. And to try to find that little needle in the haystack that you're looking for, that, other anglers, don't know there, that you can go there and catch a fish or two, or even your limit, off of that one hump out there with that rock pile sitting on top of it. It's would really eliminate a lot of time. And I got a couple others. Here's some additional brush piles there that is showing, and that's pretty massive there. I don't know if that was a tree and that's the root system, or if that's a rock pile. It looks like this one may be, but this could be a brush, or even a man-made brush that somebody put into the lake so that they know that it is there. Up here it kind of looks like maybe somebody threw their Christmas tree in here, or a fallen tree, but it's a good ways out and doesn't show the rest of the tree there. So that may be something that somebody made that you can go check out. And this is how I use the Google Earth Pro app, and I do have it on my cell phone. So while I'm out on the water, I can take all this information with me and go check out these spots. I hope this helps you out with Google Earth. Many of you probably already know about it, but for those, this is the inside of what I use to eliminate a lot of water, since this impoundment is so big. And also, you can see that all of these spots are very close, and to go from one spot to the next wouldn't take a lot of time for me to run to these individual spots during the tournament. And if I were to go to one of these spots, or each one of these spots, and be able to pick up a fish or two, on my 5-fish limit, it would, I would continue to go through there to upgrade my weight, and as far as my 5-fish limit. So these are specific areas to run to. Typically I would go to it and throw a series of baits. I would probably stay, maybe maximum time, if I didn't catch a fish and went through a series of baits to throw there to check out. I would probably stay maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes, checking out each individual spot. And if I didn't catch any fish, I would typically run over with my electronics just to make another check to see if there are fish on them. I do have the ability to not have to run over it, but I do have a Humminbird 360, which I would be able to see. For some of you guys that don't have that, you have a side imaging, down imaging on your units that you can, go by the area and not necessarily drive directly over top of it. But this is the process that I go through, and it's been, very successful for me. And, I was able to do well in tournaments, and, I hope this helps you out. The next series, I'm going to show you the Humminbird Fish Smart app, and we'll actually show you the contour lines of these places that I have outlined here on these pins, so that you can see the depth of water that I'm talking about when, lake level is at full pool or close to it. The numbers could be off a foot or two based on the lake level, but it'll give you an idea. All right, so let's move on to the Humminbird Fish Smart app. Once you open up the app, this is the menu that you will see. And what we're going to do is go into Chart Select Maps and click on that. Once you click on that, it'll show every lake and the dollar amount that you will have to pay to download that app into the Fish Smart app. I have downloaded quite a few maps, and we can go right over here to the owned map, which I own, and we're going to select the Lake Hartwell fish app right here. We click on that, then you go back up here and go back out to the main menu, and then you're going to hit chart view, since we've selected Lake Hartwell, and Lake Hartwell will come up. You also come down here to agree, and here is Lake Hartwell. Let me zoom out here. There is Lake Hartwell there in the Humminbird Fish Smart app, and these yellow dots over here are the wave points that I outlined with the pins in the Google Earth, and we could go around and look at each one of these so you can see what the Humminbird Fish Smart app has to offer and why I use this in conjunction with the Google Earth Pro. Alright, so let's zoom in over here, and here is the creek. Oops. Here is the creek that we started with on the Google Earth Pro. Let me turn this down here so that you can see the creek channel. The Humminbird Fish Smart app uses the images from Google Earth Pro, but what Humminbird has done has incorporated the contour lines into the Google Earth map, so that you are able to go through and see the water depths in the Humminbird Fish Smart app in conjunction with the Google Earth Pro. So let's zoom in on these two right here. These were the first ones that I came to. Oops, sorry about that. When I came to opening up the Google Earth Pro, was this app here. I mean, this waypoint here that I've created in my Fish Smart app, and that was the ledge, and these were the two green pins here that were outlined. This was the rock, and then this was that eroded point here that created a ledge. And if I go down here into the slide bar, I'm able to indicate or show the depth of water that the Google Earth Pro doesn't show you, but the Humminbird Fish Smart app does. This is that ledge where that big rock was, and then this was that eroded piece out on the end of that point. And as you can see, you'll get a better idea of what depth of water that rock is here, and then that undercut ledge here. And we also had the ledge to continue around this point going into the creek channel. But here on this big rock here that we labeled, it's very, very close to the deep water. As you can see, there's a big drop off, and fish tend to suspend out here, and then at certain times of the day they will move up onto cover ledges and that sort of thing. So this is a really, really high productive area, I feel. And then that erosion piece out here is really, really close, so these fish can move up into a little shallower water as opposed to suspending and be on that ledge that runs around this inside of this creek channel. The fish can be at any location along this ledge here. You know, we are talking where this rock was. We're looking at about 11, 12 feet of water where that rock is, and then of course you come around here, you're looking at about the same depth water, same depth of water for this eroded piece here. So, you know, this is a key spot that I will check and throw a numerous of baits there. So we can continue to go inside the creek, and let's go all the way to the back. And these are the two pieces back here that were the big rocks in the back of the creek next to the creek channel. Humminbird does indicate by this dark green line here the creek channel. In Google Earth, it really defines that for us on a real-time picture of what the creek channel is really doing. But these are the two rocks, and then moving out to here on this deep ledge, we had two big rocks here, and then along this bank here, fairly deep water, were those isolated rocks that I outlined that had the shadows on those. So, you know, this is a very high probable area. Not so much, I feel, morning time, because they can move up on the shallow part of it. But, you know, once the sun gets up around midday, you know, these fish that were in the back could move out along this creek channel and, you know, stay here for the day, and having those rocks there to be able to, you know, hide from any predators, or, you know, be able to ambush prey. But continuing to go, you know, around this Humminbird app here, let me zoom out and show you some of the other locations that were outlined in the Google Earth Pro. And these two spots here, we had brush piles in the water there, and as you can see, this one is in about 7 foot of water, and of course this one, everything in red. This inside line here is indicated as a 5 foot offset that I have my lake map set at, the Fish Smart app set at, and all the menus are up in here. You click on it and you can see the contour lines. You want to show them the depth shading, which I have. That's why you see multiple colors in this. And then of course you can have an offset water level. If the normal pool is 300 and it's at 298, you can adjust this by clicking this plus or minus sign here, and you can adjust it to the water level. I usually keep it at 2, just for me to kind of get a really good idea. Even though it's a 2 foot offset, really allows me to see what difference a 2 foot offset versus a 0 offset is, just as a reference point there. And then of course here I have the shallow water highlight is set at 5 feet, and that is outlined in the red. And then of course my base map, I have it at satellite view, which is the same as the Google Earth Pro setting at, so you can see all the trees and that sort of thing. So let's go back out to the map. And like I said, these two brush piles here, you know, one's in a little shallower water right on the edge of 5, and then of course this is at 7, but I do have a 2 foot offset, so this would be 9 foot. And then of course this, and if it's, say, the outside edge is 5, then of course that would be in 7 foot of water. So you know, it's something that you need to look at when you go to these spots that you've outlined, to be able to determine the water depth. And of course this slide bar down here, you know, you can fade in the contour line so you can see, you know, other things around it, such as these boat docks here. So those are those two brush piles, and let's continue around. This was the wave point for the rock for the we had a massive amount of rocks here, and as you can see, or better yet, let me see if I can zoom out. You can see kind of a little bit of the rock in the water here, but it extended way out here by this waypoint here. But you can kind of see a little bit, and it also shows the same image in the Google Earth Pro. But that's where that edge of that rock was, some big chunk rock down there. And of course, you can use a slide bar. And of course, that big chunk rock is, here's a 11 foot, so it's 10, 11 foot of water that those rocks go out into it. And then of course, even close by, you have a little shelf here, tapers down, and it shelves off, and then it really cuts into the a deep ledge there. So fish can move out here and suspend, and of course move up into the shallow. Sit on this ledge is something that I would do. Throw plastic worms, jigs, crankbait it. We're looking at 16 foot for this line, and of course these are 1 foot, so that would be 15 foot. So run a crankbait down through there, jig, plastic worm. You drop shot that ledge right before it breaks off into this deeper water, or this really steep ledge. So that's a really, really good spot there. And of course, it's in between 2 boat docks, and that's another good feature to have, because a lot of times these fish on these deep ledges here, they'll move up underneath of these boat docks here for the shade and cover. And then of course out here, that we have that massive amount of rock there. But let's just go into our next one here. This was the big rock, the big ledge out there. It looked like a big chunk rock. Big boulders along this edge here, and I've created a waypoint there, and you can see some of the ridges here due to the clarity of the water. You can see that there's ridges there as far as the contour lines are concerned. But this waypoint here is probably in about 11, 12 foot of water. Like I said, I do have a 2 foot offset, so it could increase. It would increase. These numbers would change if I were to do a 0 offset, but those numbers would bump up based on your settings there. So that's where that rock ledge is, and you can go back and refresh it into your Google Earth Pro in this video, and relook at that. This is that hump with that big rock pile on top of it I was talking about. Another great thing about the Fish Smart app, does show the contours, and it shows that hump there. And in 12 foot of water, we have, that rock pile there, which would be just ideal. And it is close, to this, these deep ledges here that the fish could move up on. And let's back out just a little bit. And of course, you have a continuous contour out here to the main creek channel here as well. You got 52 foot out there, so this point continues to roll out as it slowly, gradually tapers off into the deeper water here. But that's a key spot. And even if you didn't use Google Earth Pro and you had some sort of map, whether it be the Humminbird Lake Master Mat chip in your electronics, in your Humminbird electronics, or your Navionics in your Lowrance units, it would typically show this hump here, and that's something that would indicate an area that I would like to check out, a hump being in 12 foot of water. And then of course I got there, and I would use my electronics, and I would locate that rock pile out there. But if you don't know it, and it's easier to see it on the Google Earth Pro, give you an idea, it's there. So something to check out. If you were just using a contour, that would be a spot that I would certainly check, just in a map study showing contour lines. And then of course the last one that I had outlined in here was we had another brush pile up here, and of course, we're looking at about 7 foot of water. That brush pile is in, and it's closer to the channel here. And then, of course, we have a ledge here. It's deeper, real steep bank, then it levels off somewhat. Then it goes steeper, and then it levels off, and then a little steeper here, and then they slowly taper up to that brush pile there. And that's something that's a really good spot. And by using this Humminbird Fish Smart app and showing you the contour lines, you can see where these fish would, throughout the season, based on the seasonal pattern, whether they're out here, in the early spring, be pre-spawn. They tend to, suspend out here and on these rock ledges. And of course, during the summertime, they would move back out of the shallow water and get on these ledges here. So, you're just going through the process of elimination to be able to pick up some key areas that you can really start your homework in this process. And going to the lake, you would have a base to start from. And then of course, you start catching fish, you're able to fine tune the pattern, or be able to go to another place very similar to that to duplicate that pattern there. Typically, if they're patterned in some part of the lake, typically fairly close by, or within reasonable distance, that the pattern wouldn't change. It could be because of the bottom of this lake would be a little clear water. Mid-lake, it gets a little murkier, and then of course up in these larger creeks here, maybe a little dingier water. So I wouldn't expect the pattern to ever on rock ledges down here in the clear water. I wouldn't expect them to be, on a rock ledge up here in the little murkier water. Possibility, something that you would need to check based on your your seasonal pattern and water color, water temperature. So these are the two maps that I really do a lot of work prior to going to the lake or river. I hope this helps you out or gives you a base, some place to start. And like I said, I've been fairly successful with this process, and it gives me a good base to start on. And I can build from that base and put something together. This is just a starting point on going to a lake that you may not know, or you may know it very well, and you found some other spots in the lake, which is a bonus, because you could go around and find some other spots that are similar to the ones that you are fishing now. Or if you're someone that's come out of town to go fish a tournament in Georgia, such as you would at least have a base and have some sort of an idea of what to go and base your plan on. And if you like these videos here, please subscribe and hit the notification button, so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. The next video after this one I'll be putting out will be me actually going to Lake X. I'm not going to tell you what lake it is, because it's one on the circuit there, and I did some pre-fishing, and I did the exact same thing here using the Google Earth Pro and the Humminbird Fish Smart app. Went there, found some spots there, went there, pre-fished it. Not any big fish, but they would go in the box as far as counting towards my 5 fish limit. It's over 3 days, and I did throw a bonus day in there because I went back, I think it was 2 weeks after I went there the first time and did all my map study. I went back 2 weeks after that, and I was still on that buckbush pattern. And the longer that I was there, as the days went, day 1, day 2, day 3, you know, my fish seemed to get bigger and bigger as I started keying on some of these spots like I've shown here in this video. So keep heads up and look for that video and me actually in the boat and fishing and explaining to you guys what I'm doing in reference to the Google Earth Pro map and also this Humminbird Fish Smart app. I thank you very much, and please subscribe.